When the new Boston City Council is sworn in next month, there will be a number of firsts, resulting in an elected body that much more closely mirrors the people they represent. Tania Ferndandes Anderson will be the first Muslim and first African immigrant on the council, having come to Boston from Cape Verde as a child. And Ruthzee Louijeune will be the first Haitian American on the council, an incredible fact considering Boston is the third largest Haitian population in the U.S. Just 12 years ago, Boston's 13-member city council was made up of 12 men, 9 of whom were white, plus 1 white woman. Come January 3rd, the council will have just 3 white men and be majority women and majority people of color. Quite a change. So in honor of their groundbreaking achievements and visions for the future, City Councilors-elect Tania Ferndandes Anderson and Ruthzee Louijeune were both just named among the Boston Globe's 2021 Bostonians of the Year. They join me now. It's good to meet you both, and congratulations on everything.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me here.
Good to be here. I mentioned the first, Ruthzee Louijeune. Can we start with you? First Haitian American. How does that inform your decision to run and what you hope to do on the City Council?
Thanks, Jim. It informs everything. So much of my identity and who I am is a result of seeing my parents, who were working class Haitian immigrants, come here, learn a new language, and face barrier after barrier as being Black immigrants here in a city that was very different from the warm Caribbean climate that they knew. And they faced a lot of challenges. And so everything that I bring to the table and every facet of who I am, whether that's as an attorney or as a daughter, or as a neighbor, is informed by my Haitian heritage and my parents and their sacrifice, and being very much a part and a member of this very vibrant Haitian community.
You know, Tania Ferndandes Anderson, I left out one first from you that I think that's matters. I think you were also the first formerly undocumented person to be on the City Council. How did the 3 firsts that you bring to the council inform your service?
I mean, thanks, Jim. Thanks for the hard question. I appreciate that.
It's not that hard.
It brings adaptability. I mean, I was formerly undocumented, right? So the first African immigrant. So I come from a different world, and I adapted here in the U.S., this amazing country, and learned to love Roxbury, and received a lot of guidance from my community, but also my spiritual community. So of course, now here you are having this amazing group of dynamic women that are going to sit on the council. So I look forward to it.
Staying with you, Councilor Anderson, elect Anderson, for a second, why did you decide to run? I mean, as you know, even though the City Council, according to this ballot question, will have a little more power than it's had in the past, this is a strong mayor system of government. Why did you think service was important?
You know, you could choose to sit on the sidelines, or you'll say, I can give you like the cool answer, which is, I would like to change policy and change the world. Or look, I told myself, you can either be on the battlefield or be on the sidelines. And I feel I want to continue to serve my community. 29 years in public health sector. I would like to continue that, and hopefully I'm effective. Again, you're either battling or you're just watching.
How about you, Councilor-elect Louijeune?
Yeah, it was incredibly important for me to be a part of the voice in government pushing for change. We are all talking about the issues of racial equity. We're all talking about the issues of closing wealth gaps. We have to make sure that we're electing folks who are ready to get to work and who have a proven track record of doing that work. Boston is a city that has given me quite a lot. But as you stated, Jim, the 3rd largest Haitian diaspora is right here in the city of Boston. And it's nuts that we haven't had that representation in City Hall. I'm not the first to run for Boston City Council. I want that to be clear. I am part of a continuum of people who have been trying to break down that door, break down that barrier. And all of us are. When we talk about City Council, Bruce Bowling, we talk about Ayanna Presley, you know, without them, neither Tania or I would be here. And so we're part of a continuum of pushing the city forward, of pushing City Council forward to reflect the Boston that we know can be a really great city for all of us.
Let me stay with you for 1 second, since you mentioned the number that probably every member of this audience could recite by heart, the shocking number out of the Federal Reserve from a handful of years ago. Average wealth of a white family in Boston, $250,000. Average wealth of a Black family, $8. Average family of wealth of a Dominican family, $0. Briefly, if you can, Councilor-elect Louijeune first, what do you do about that?
You put your money where the things that you care about are. You put more resources into first generation homeownership. When we talk about that wealth gap, that is rooted in policies of exclusion and racism when it comes to redlining, when it came to block busting that prevented integrated communities in Roxbury, in Dorchester, and in Mattapan. So it has to be corrective action. When we're talking about equity, it is corrective action to correct for our historical where we've erred. And that means putting our money in building out first generation homeownership opportunities and in building affordable housing and homeownership here. It's also in making sure that our city contracts are being awarded to the diversity of business that exists, to Black and Latinx folks, women, so that we are really, the wealth is being shared. It's all about shared prosperity. That's the work that we got to do.
How about you, Councilor Anderson? How do you attack that yawning, grotesque disparity?
I mean, look, I think that systemic racism is long overdue for us to overthrow it, for us to create a revolution that really brings about change, but building it from the ground up, right? So empowering our community to have a voice and having them included in the process and making sure that we are including people every step of the way. So I think that equity means that we're looking at actual practical solutions that are just not, okay, you get a house and I get a house. We know that it's not equal. We know that if you mean what you say, I hope that my sisters and brothers in service will continue to actually follow through with their word. And hopefully that it does become about equity and we are not going to have too many disagreements in there.
We only have a minute left. Staying with you, Councilor-elect Anderson, what's your favorite thing to do in Boston?
My favorite thing to do is probably go to Carson Beach and walk around or jog about 5 in the morning.
Well, that's pretty impressive at 5 in the morning. How about you, Councilor-elect Louijeune?
Oh, it's really hard to pick just like one of my favorite things, but I love when I have some downtime, hanging out with either my girlfriends or my sisters and going to one of Boston's many great restaurants for brunch. In one of we have so many great neighborhoods. I also love, biking and taking my scooter along Southwest Corridor Park with my sister. So just being out around in our city and in our neighborhoods, Franklin Park, lots of really great places to go.
I'm sorry, you two, come January, no more time for fun. That's it. It's
more
over.
fun.
Remember those things. It's a pleasure to meet you both. I wish you a lot of luck on the
Likewise, Jim.
council. I hope to see you again soon.
Likewise, thank you so much.